Be it resolved that council comes out of the closed portion of the meeting at 6:36 PM. Have a mover and a seconder. Councilor Allen, Councilor Campbell. All in favor? Carried. Resolution, be it resolved that council rise from the closed session October 8th, 2024 with the following to report. One, we discussed proposed purchase of municipal land. And two, Councillor McCutcheon is to carry out direction in accordance with CM 2024-02. If I can move in a second on that, please. Councillor Gadry, Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Okay. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Any? I have one that I am giving for 13A, the winter sand tender. All right. So at that point, on a rotational basis, someone have to step in for me while I leave. Who is that going to be? That will be surprise, surprise. It's over there.
I think it's me.
Not me.
Please don't.
You, dear.
Word 5.
Shelter gathering. Perfect. Thank you. In the previous, when we opened, just so everybody knows, we amended the agenda that we're adding to the consent agenda, so we'll get to that right away. And under the adoption of minutes, be it resolved that the following minutes respectively be approved as printed, the inaugural meeting of August 27th, 2024. If I can move in a second on that, please. Councillor, oh, you have a question, Councillor Bouchard? Go ahead. Sure.
I just want to know why it says draft in the minutes.
In the actual report?
Yeah, if you click the minutes, it says
Is it
draft
not
on every
approved?
paper.
Yeah.
Right at the top.
Top right.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
that's correct. They just haven't been approved yet.
Okay, I just want to make sure, like, if we approve it, they're not changed or anything after. You know,
Well, so we'll still have the draft, and then you'll see the approval.
okay,
We're good.
just seems awkward. I've never seen it before.
Moving to seconder, Councillor Gadry. Councillor Campbell. All in favor? Carried. Under consent agenda 7A. Councillor Sharma, you had an item you wanted to discuss.
Yes. I'd like to discuss the landfill. Because I've found out that our bulldozer's been broken for a long time now. And it's never been brought to our attention to approve the repairs. Therefore, there's a contractor bulldozer pushing our dumps. I understand the town has to do what they have to do to get out of a pinch. But if this is gonna go on any longer, there should be a tender for that job.
Okay.
You know, it's we gotta be fair. We're using taxpayers' dollars here. We're not using our own.
So you're looking for,
Well, one would be to know why it's never been brought to our attention that our own bulldozer is broken. Right?
Yeah.
And then second, why was it just a phone call made and
not a RFP.
yeah,
Okay. So we want that through Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. All around the subject of landfills, is there any way we can revisit the hours of operation for our landfills? I mean, running a business and having to bring my own garbage there, I lose a little bit of time with the shop.
Okay, that'd be a second motion, second report then.
Okay.
We'll deal with Councillor Charbonneau. So you're looking for, to come back with a report for what it's gonna take to fix the,
The
Bulldozer.
bulldozer, yeah.
and the second is to what we can do to get proper, request for-
Procedure
for
for,
pricing.
yeah, procedure for. request,
Procedure, yeah.
So just so I could, maybe I could speak to a little bit of that. Bulldozer went down, we were already contracting out the pushing at that point. The repair for the bulldozer would have been over $50,000. The bulldozer also happens to have an engine that would be suitable for another project that Aqua has on the capital plan. So the contracting is really just a short-term fix until we decide what we're doing with that bulldozer. And then if there was going to be long-term solution that involved a contractor, we'd absolutely be going to tender. I don't know if that answers enough of.
But, it does, but at the same time, how long are we gonna go before we put a request for tender? That's what I'm wondering, like, it's been, since we've been sworn in, that bulldozer's been broken. And it hasn't been brought to our attention. How long- If I were to mention it tonight, how long would it be before it would come to our attention? That's what I'm,
If I had to guess, and don't hold me to it, I hope. But within the next 2 meetings, there probably would have been a proposal brought in saying that we'd like to use the engine for the bulldozer for this. And here are some options for the landfill. Or alternatively, if it made more sense, then we would have said, we'll repair the bulldozer. Here are the associated costs, and then council could have made a decision. So.
Yeah.
so you still wanna speed up that? I,
yes,
from what you're saying is let's get the report now rather than 2 meetings from now. Okay. Councillor Bouchard.
Just to support Mr. Charbonneau's concerns is that right now it's an assumption that the bulldozer needs $50,000 to repair because the same contractor that's repairing it is the one pushing at the dump. Personally, I think we should bring the machine to a proper Caterpillar, whoever it is, to do the assessment on the machine. And secondly is, why are we scrapping a bulldozer, take an engine out? That's worth $15,000 for another machine.
Okay, well, that would be part of the report. doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I get what you're saying. It's,
Yeah.
we have to be open and we have to make sure everybody gets a proper opportunity to
Yeah.
vote on this. Go ahead.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just to give everybody here some clarity, that bulldozer is in very, very good shape. It's got new chains, new undercarriage. It had a new engine last year. This bulldozer is worth putting some money in. We got too much invested into the bulldozer to let it go.
Okay.
Like that's the facts that I know.
Councillor Allen?
Is that kind of information something that can be put into the report so that we can see what kind of shape or what repairs have been done, what kind of money has been invested into it up to this point?
Yeah, so through you, Mr. Mayor, the report would include the options, right? So the options would include repairing it. Here's the pros, the cons, and here's something we could do with, with the engine, if we decided not to move forward with the repairs. I would probably include an estimate on the cost of contracting out the work, over the course of a year, 2 years, 3 years. So that way you have all the information, and make a decision based on.
Is the bulldozer the only place at the dumps? Is that the only place it's being used? So,
Councillor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Also, on the, it pertains to both subjects we're gonna talk about, but this one also. There's more than one company that owns a bulldozer in Madison. So I think we should, as a township, we should have a list in the office with all the local contractors that own wet equipment. And every 2 or 3 years, they should be providing quotation. So let's say for a grader, I charge this much, for a dozer, for a truck, whatever, right? And then we can go down the list. In cases like this where we need an emergency call, we can go down the list and just call. You know,
It's in an effort to be more transparent and allowing everybody to quote and provide their information. I agree.
So, through you, Mr. Mayor, we've already begun, crafting an RFP for that exact, exactly.
that's good.
So do you have a resolution for that? Is that an explanation that Councilor Sharma gave you?
Well, I think we could just, add a resolution to, request a report on the bulldozer at the landfill. That would be adequate, and I can bring it forward from there.
Do you want to write some down?
I can
You
write
want me-
it down for sure.
Okay. I'm not gonna repeat that. Be it resolved that the council of the township of Blackbird, Mass and direct staff to bring a report regarding the bulldozer to our next regular meeting. That cover them? I can have a move and a seconder then? Councilor Allen, Councilor Sharma. All in favor? Carried. Item number 2 and 7B would be yours as well, Councilor Sharma.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This one's the discussion of winter maintenance. And the weather's there, we know it's coming. So, and I understand we're pretty low on public works staff. So we will need help this winter. That's a guarantee. I'm just curious to see if we're gonna see tenders for that. And again, this is where that list comes in. You know, we have a list for plow trucks, graders, stuff like that, and there's an emergency, we can call whoever we decided is first on the list, and if they can't do it, then we call the second.
Okay. Again, more transparent.
Yeah.
To the residents, okay.
But, and also if we're actually getting a contract for the winter, or if we're gonna go on-call basis, because on-call is not reliable also, right?
So if I could speak to it through you, Mr. Mayor, one of the things that we're considering right now is, whether we want to do it on an on-call basis, ask for prices, have those listed on file, whether it's by the hour and the type of equipment, or whether we want to specify the work that's required for a beat. And then if we know that we're going to be short for a week, 2 weeks, a month, we'd have the opportunity to schedule that beat with one of the contractors based on the prices that they submitted. So you could expect to see that at either the next council meeting or the following council meeting, depending on the timelines of the RFP and what submissions we receive. And again, that doesn't lock us into making any sort of decision at all. So.
Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On that, I think there has to be some sort of disclosure on the drivers, their insurance, the training. So the last contractor we had last winter, the MTO pulled the driver out of the plow because they didn't have a license. So that puts liability on us because we're supposed to do our due diligence when we're hiring these people. So we have to make sure they have the right insurance. That should be all part of questions we ask the contractors. That we're getting.
Right, James?
Yeah, so if I could through you, Mr. Mayor, I definitely agree with you. I think it would be silly not to agree with you. There are steps that we can take to ensure that the employees of a contractor that we're using are licensed, and that they remain licensed throughout the contract. I mean, other municipalities go as far as having contractor training, where even any contractor that's doing work on behalf of the municipality has to take a short training seminar. We keep certain records on file, so that's definitely something that we can be doing.
So if that report is already being prepared, I don't think we need to move a motion to create the report. Obviously, you're doing it, right?
I am.
So you're okay with that?
Yeah, the only thing is, I think this one should take precedence over the bulldozer maybe because.
I like your thinking.
Yeah.
Well, I know MTO, the plows, I think it's November 15th, they have to be ready, right? So we should be acting with the same dates and like this has to be one of the priorities and then.
Yeah, so the intention was to get that hopefully to the next meeting, so you should see the RFP out fairly shortly, and if the time is out, we can bring options to the next meeting of council, but otherwise it would be.
And probably should be the next council meeting because we'll be into November. Close to November, sorry. Councillor Bouchard?
Just one more thing in that report, if it's possible to identify what the minimum insurance that they need, like is it 3 million liability, 4 million liability? And what's the maximum age of the equipment required and stuff like that, like some municipalities do have that, so that you don't end up with a 25-year-old plow truck running down the streets and stuff like that, you know, so. Get reliability at the same time from the contractor for the cost of repaying.
Yeah, absolutely agree. I would say that 5 million liability is probably the standard.
Standards.
So we're good just to continue then? Okay. 7C would be me. And I added, again, have a quick discussion on asking staff to bring or to do some research on a question and answer period that would follow the council meeting. So I know a lot of communities do it already. But if staff could look into what the length of the question and answer period is, whether it's 10 minutes, some is 10 minutes, some is 15 minutes. Some communities allow 2 questions, some allow 3 or 5 minutes per individual. But also, if we could look into whether they're pre-submitted questions, so they would be question that is sent to the clerk prior to the meeting so that you're prepared for the answer, or if they're on the spot. So if someone wants to stand up at the end and ask a question on the microphone, and then, or a hybrid of, so you get one pre-submitted and one on the spot. But also, I know some communities also do it where they just receive the question, either if it's verbally live, they just receive the question and it's answered the following week. Or if you just comment and answer it right away. So I don't know if staff could create something that I would like to see that, because either way, I don't think if we're here and we don't know the answer to a question, the best answer is I don't know and I will get you the answer. But when you pre-submit a question and you already have an answer prepared, to me it's sort of like the presidential US debate, you know, everything's coming off a chiller pump, you know what you're gonna say. But if you are honest, then you'll know what the answer is. And if you're prepared, you know what the answer is. So I would like to see if staff could look into that, just so we can add at the end of the meeting some sort of question and answer period and how that would go. Yes, James.
Yeah, so I would say that it's definitely possible. I would consider some changes to our procedural bylaw. If we were gonna incorporate something like that, along with some rules,
Mhm.
obviously for the questions that are submitted. But I could bring back options for sure.
Okay, that's what I would like to see. Councilor German?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Is this not something we can just discuss right now and get it over with?
No, because we have to let the public know that we're gonna speak about it, so those that wanted to attend either in person or on Zoom can be here to participate in it. Which is the part of the law saying, you know, don't add stuff at the last minute to the agenda because maybe someone wanted to talk about the bulldozer, right? But we're just getting a report to come back to discuss, and then any individual that wants to send us emails over the next 2 weeks and maybe be here when we have the discussion. So that's the reason we don't like to add things at the last minute, but
Well, sorry if I can, at the next meeting, I would bring forward some options. So you could certainly select one of those options and move forward with it at that meeting. Or you could open that up for discussion as well. So entirely up to council.
I think it's important. We have to be transparent to everybody and go ahead.
I agree, it's very important, and I think the public should have their, like, we're not scared, I'll be transparent, no problem. I just think staff has a lot to do, that's why I'd like, if we can take something off of staff's back and deal with it. I know, I understand your point, not today.
Mhm.
But if we can deal with it next meeting, you know. I just don't wanna overwhelm the one staff.
Appreciate it.
So if we discuss it now, we could give you how we want the procedure bylaw changed for next meeting. So do you want pre-submitted questions and or live questions? Councilor Jarvin?
If my take on it, it would be just live questions. If we don't have the answer, we can provide it next meeting.
Mhm.
And if we have the answer, we can provide it instantly.
And the answer could come from any
Anybody.
seven of us, so. Councilor Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think some pre-submitted ones would be all right too, because not everybody can attend the meeting. Right?
Okay.
So if somebody wanted to email a question and then they get the answer during our meeting, they can review it later on.
Mhm.
So I think we should do both.
Okay, Councilor McCutcheon?
We might have to discuss a limit on the number of questions that come in by email, because we could end up with like 40 questions and then like we'll deal with the.
So what would you feel is a time limit?
Well, it's not really the time limit, it's the number of questions. Like
Yeah, but
if we do the, we can email them in and we get 30 questions in the box. Can we answer 30 questions in one night?
No, but if we have 15 minutes and we each one takes 3 minutes, we answer 5 questions.
Put a time limit on it, right?
Yeah, okay. But if one question takes 15 minutes,
The time limit.
the procedure would evolve over time because by week 2, now you've got 17 unanswered questions. And then we might just, but it's something we might even look at, maybe on our website too, posting the questions and answering them and more work for our staff.
Well,
Councilor Gatter?
Mr. Mayor, I think people always have the opportunity to ask questions by email or calling us up, you know, I get calls at home all the time, I'm sure you do too. So I think we should focus maybe on questions, like live questions. And have a time limit.
Okay, so giving precedence to the live, okay. What's the time limit then?
I would say 15 minutes.
15 minutes?
Yeah. Not more than that.
Fair enough.
The longer it goes, the less it's gonna be.
Yes,
At the start, there's gonna be more questions, but after a year of transparency and a year of seeing the town do good, the questions should dissipate.
well then hopefully we're just getting positive comments rather than
Yeah.
questions. Okay, so do you need a resolution to amend the procedure bylaw to affect that?
So I'm gonna suggest that we still word the resolution with options. I might only bring one based on the feedback that you gave.
Okay.
But that could always be amended when it's brought forward, so.
Okay.
I wrote a motion here, just to be clear, we're talking 15-minute time period. We're gonna stick with live. In
Yes.
person,
Yeah.
question and answer, and then if. So hypothetically, we start having a little bit of extra time, we can move to emails.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
and in order of receipt,
Yes,
so
and it'd be fair that way because we're not gonna choose an easy question answer. And the only thing was that we would ask that the resident states their name and maybe the ward that they're in, so that in case we're not aware of where the individual's from, so. Be resolved, the council directs staff to bring a report on options for a question period incorporated into our council meetings. So come on, can I get a mover and seconder? Gardner and Gattery. All in favor? Carried. We're gonna move down to reports 11A. A verbal report being presented by Mayor Dave Dime regarding a tour with a prospective physician. So I just wanted to I don't remember the date actually, about 2 weeks ago. We had a doctor come to town and was accompanied by Abigail Brennan. And this doctor was originally to come on our last council term. And then we obviously had the dissolution of council, so this sort of fell under our old funds that we gave the at the time it was a worker visa, I believe it was, so. This gentleman came and I did a tour with him and Abigail. We did a tour of the community. We did a couple of the unique areas, the hotspots, took him around to show him the some of our subdivisions and parks and town hall, stuff like that, just to give the prospective physician an idea of what, if he does choose Matson under this tour, then this is where he'd be living. A very nice gentleman, Dr. Lizovisky was his name. And then in the evening, council joined myself and two of them, and we took the doctor out for dinner. And just so everybody's clear and we're transparent, the invoice was footed by myself. It didn't come out of the taxpayers' money or any coffers of taxpayers, because at this point we have no direction, but I felt that it was important that we had a gentleman here who was interested, so let's put our best foot forward. So Councillor Campbell and I joined them for dinner, and he was very into fishing.
He really wanted to get into the outdoors.
Yeah, very into the outdoors, so this worked out well for him. He had a lot of questions about the community that we hopefully presented well, and we left him that evening, and he had 2 more tours with Iroquois Falls and Cochrane the following 2 nights, so hard to say whether we're successful or not, but at least we did make a presentation to him, and we'll go from there. Next report is the e-signature policy. And be resolved, the council of the township of Blackbird Masson directs the interim clerk treasurer to draft a memo to all employees outlining their responsibility to ensure that electronic signatures are used only when expressly authorized, and explain the potential consequences of misuse. If I could get a move and a seconder on this to discuss. Councillor Campbell, Councillor Berlo. questions or comments regarding the report? Counselor Sharma?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It says, draft a memo to all employees. Is that council or is that, office?
Both. All of us.
Okay, because I was under the impression that the first resolution was to remove the councilors' e-signatures altogether.
Yes, I believe that's what the original resolution was, right? Did you want to talk on it?
Yeah, so just very briefly, we've not used counselors' e-signatures, absolutely don't intend to. Part of the request for the report was to bring forward a change to bylaw policy respecting e-signatures. Obviously, there's already laws that exist that cover that topic. So again, in the interest maybe of time, it seemed sort of a pointless exercise and also one that would be outside of the scope of our jurisdiction as a municipality to create a law. So a bylaw was sort of out of the question. And you'll note in my report that I did illustrate or outline where in the code of conduct that would fall. So we already have a policy that covers it. So I think that one, no longer using councilor's electronic signature, and that won't happen. And making sure that everybody understands that without express permission for that one particular instance, you don't get to use somebody's electronic signature. I think we'd sort of cover all of our bases that way.
And as of today, I still haven't submitted my e-signature. So whenever I attend the office, that's when I sign everything by hand. I don't. I guess there's a program we can use to just at the end of the meeting, everything is signed automatically that you discussed.
Even on these.
Yeah, but I went and signed them constantly, just so that we don't run into the situation that we had previous council.
Mr. Mayor, I mean, we didn't submit any e-signature last time either. They were just scanned and used. So that was my whole issue at this point, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we never gave any permission for e-signatures in the past. I get we're moving forward now, so it's.
Yeah, Councilor McCutcheon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Do we use DocuSign? Like, why are we giving a signature when we can just use DocuSign to send us the
That's what I was gonna
document?
say.
Yeah, we should be using DocuSign for documents that need any kind of signature.
We use,
The lawyers use it.
yeah,
Yeah, this is,
Yeah, we have-
it's an easy thing to do, but this is.
Well,
Yeah.
so
so. The situation that we're dealing with is the reason that I think Council Campbell brought this up is that even though we had with exact similar conversation to what we're having now, but some councilors felt that their signatures were used without the expressed approval.
They were gathered without our approval.
Yeah.
Off like
So-
DocuSign documents.
No, off of anything, it was just a photo. So we're,
You can't stop that regardless of what you do.
yeah, so that's the whole idea is that we're trying to ensure that this never happens again, so.
Well, just go to live signature, you can sign and get signed.
And that's what I have been doing for,
But with the DocuSign, it's the same thing. They send you the document, you look at the document
Yeah.
and then you sign.
Yeah.
At least you know you've seen the document before your name's on it.
in the interim, I think, if we accept the report and we make sure everybody's aware of the consequences, but we continue to do live signing because we're all of 10 kilometers away, each of us from an office, so if a signature is needed, we can always drive in. I don't, it's not like we're downtown Toronto where we got parking's an issue and, we're busy. It's, if a document needs to be signed, just drive in. I think that's the safest way. Councilor McCutcheon?
I agree with you, Mr. Mayor, that's the way to do it.
So having said that, we can just accept the report, make sure that everybody's aware of the consequences of using our signatures. I just encourage everybody, to continue when you need to go in, sign what you need to sign. I don't need to read the resolution again, all in favor? Carried. 11C, delegation of authority report. Be it resolved, the council of the Township of Black River, Masson directs the interim clerk treasurer to draft a proposed delegation of authority bylaw for the November 12th, 2024 council meeting. Could I get a move and a seconder, please? Councillor Guthrie, Councillor Bouchard. So I'm sure everybody read that long document. So any questions or comments prior to Councillor Guthrie?
I think to go through that document, you'd almost need a meeting just for that.
Mhm.
Mhm. It's
Go line by line and
it's a very powerful document that, I agree, it would need a lot of care and maintenance. Mr. Clay?
Yeah, so just to touch on that, you're right. It's quite the document. There are some authorities that are delegated that make sense. Some of them are legislated. So part of the plan would be to outline which of those authorities are delegated based on legislation. I could lay it out in a way that probably makes a little bit more sense to everybody. And then what could happen is it could be built on from there. So instead of doing a sort of line by line exercise of the document that already exists, we can bring forward those authorities which would reasonably be delegated, have a short discussion about those or explanation or whatever council wishes. And then determination could be made on whether there are additional authorities that council would like to delegate. It would certainly shorten the process.
Councillor Allen.
I agree with what James is saying. I think sorting it into that will make it go a lot quicker, a lot easier, and that way we can get the ones that we really don't have a lot of say on out of the way. And then just focus on the ones that we need to focus on.
And by doing that, that puts the power to council where it should be. At bare minimum. Councillor Bouchard?
Are we proposing to completely abolish this existing bylaw and then start fresh, basically? Is that what we're looking for?
But there is
There's some key elements in
key
there.
ones that we
needs to
can't
be-
change
yeah,
that we have to
and
keep.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but. So we would basically get a draft. You know, in the next few weeks and stuff, and then. Basically a whole
Yeah,
new.
it would be by the November 12th meeting.
Yeah.
So it would come as, this is what you have to have, you can't change, but then these items, 10, 20, whatever they are, 15. These are the ones that are up for discussion and whether we want to accept them or amend them. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In one of the columns, it actually says that it says delegation process or legislation authority, it says municipal act or.
Yeah.
It says where they're from already.
Yeah.
So they'd be pretty easy to wean out.
Yeah, so just sort of to take that a little step further, for example, the municipal act will give the municipality or the council of the municipality the authority to delegate something, but not necessarily that they have to delegate something. So there are some things that your clerk, your treasurer, your chief building official will be delegated based on legislation. But again, the municipal act could allow council to further delegate if they so choose.
And do.
And
Councillor Sherman?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Councillor Guthrie, though, that can we do this on for a meeting, because this won't be 5 minutes.
No.
This will be a minimum an hour and a half, 2 hours. Can we make it its own meeting? Instead of putting it with the regular meeting?
Yeah,
Do this for
I don't see why not. It's okay.
if I can make a suggestion, as I sort of go through it and kind of gauge how much discussion council may or may not want to have. We have a couple of options. We could bring it back for sort of a preliminary discussion, a little bit of further discussion, and then bring it to the following meeting. Or if it is gonna, take an hour for us to go over it, maybe a special meeting.
Well, I will.
But maybe I can. You might be right.
We could perhaps piggyback it onto one of our training sessions in a very short, because we have our third-party training, we have Aqua, we have our KPMG. One of them. So yeah, could piggyback that onto one of those trainings just to. Because we're going to be here already, so we might as well add an extra hour to our 1 hour training. So if we put that option on as to. Okay. So do I have to redo the,
You've got to. And as long as everybody's okay with the November 12th. date.
everybody's okay with November 12th date then? Okay,
Unless we change it.
which we will. So we'll put out an email to confirm that we can maybe do a special meeting. Before November 12th. Good with that? Okay. All in favor? Carried. 7D, legal costs and retainers. Be it resolved that council of the township of Black River, Maston directs the interim clerk treasurer to bring back a recommendation with respect to a consolidation of our legal counsel to one service provider with the intention of reducing costs while still receiving adequate advice and representation. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Charbonneau. Alan. Sure, there's questions and comments on about this report. Councillor Allen.
What is the Be Child Facebook post $500?
Mr. LePage. Can you expand on that or?
I'm not really in a position to expand on that. That is what was in place.
But you can see the total amount of what we spent.
Yeah.
For the first 9 months, 9 months. Councillor, Council?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. In a later document, can we get like a breakdown of all these costs? Find out how they were used?
Don't see why not. It's.
I mean, every company, every lawyer firm should be given a monthly statement at the end of the month, like,
Yeah.
oh, you guys sent in this many emails, it cost you this much, phone calls this much.
Okay.
So I don't see why we shouldn't be able to get something for the total year, right?
Yeah, so you're looking for information regarding. Like whether it be phone calls or emails, or do you want to know what case we'll call it?
Yeah, what services were used?
What services, what the issues were, whether it was advice or drafting documents like that?
Yep.
Okay,
If I can, so obviously, depending on the content, some of that will have to come back in a closed meeting. But I could certainly try to break this down a little bit further in a way that would be presentable in an open session, and then sort of not sure really, I guess just put it, sort of give an amount that is left over. And from there, we'd have to discuss it. If that makes sense, then.
Councillor Gathering?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This investigative risk management, was there a report prepared?
I don't think we ever got that report, did we?
A report From,
IRM?
I do not have. I do not have any reports. Again, it's difficult to discuss some of the legal, numbers here, but, I can say that, some of the work that was done by our IRM, was, we'll call it, based on direction from, one of the other counselors. Sorry, when I say counsel, I mean legal counsel. We can sort of accommodate there, so.
Counselor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If we spent $55,000 and have absolutely nothing to show for it, can we not contest it?
I don't know legally, but I'm just gonna assume like this. These were all directed by other staff members. So I don't know what they requested, just do the work and it's done, or send out reports. So I myself would like to know what IRM is IRM part of the security that was here for the election and prior election? Or is that security going to be above and beyond these legal fees?
So, IRM, they did contract the services, in relation to the security, both at town hall and during the by-election. And the one conversation that I did have with the company, was when we went through the invoicing for that, we made it very clear that there was no, additional cost. You didn't add an administrative fee or anything. But that being said, the total cost for the security that was contracted, is above and beyond that.
Councilor Charbonneau?
Can we get that number?
I can give you an approximate number today. It is about $80,000. And I can follow up with something more specific.
Councilor Charbonneau?
I would like a report to know how much we spent on security.
Councilor Council?
Can we defer this to a closed meeting until we have further information to discuss?
Does it fall under the guidelines for a closed meeting?
So if I could offer a suggestion, again, we could, I could sort of frame a report, providing as much information as I can in open. And then if there's additional information, that council requires, we can move into a closed session. The resolution, that Mayor Diamond read, was more about, trying to consolidate for, saving future costs. So, if
Okay, so. Yeah, the whole concept of this was just so that you're made aware of what we're spending or have spent. But. Going forward, I'd rather, I think we all agree that we don't want to, we'd rather have one service provider. So we get economies of scale, but we're gonna be nowhere near that amount moving forward. Councilor Charbonneau?
So in reading the motion, do we have a potential replacement?
Okay.
so, I would bring back a recommendation. I'm not sure. I mean, there's definitely legal counsel out there that specializes in the types of things that we would want them to specialize in. But it might include an RFP process, or it might involve research and and recommendation, so.
Councilor McCutcheon?
Mr. Mayor. I think we need a report on everything that can be released and open. And anything that's sensitive that has to be done closed, we can deal with that in closed. Because a lot of this, like $54,000 for risk management, $500 for a Facebook post, like we like, all of us would like to see what services we got for that money. And some of it's sensitive, some of it's not. But also the taxpayers need to see the same thing. So I think we should be showing what we have in open, how this is spent. And then anything that's sensitive that can't be dispersed should be done in closed, so we have an understanding of exactly how this all transpired.
The concept of the resolution is just that we're aware that we're trying to move to one provider.
We're going,
But we have to, we're more open than we ever have been by providing a number like this to the public, which is what we were all elected to do, to be more open and transparent. So we're gonna do the best we can. But we also have to understand there's some items that we can't discuss in open. But I hate moving into closed meetings all the time, but it's gonna be necessary that we'll talk about this, but I'm sure we're all in the same mind frame that we're not going down this path ever again. And we can guarantee that to the public. So I'll amend the resolution of Councilor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had one more question, very quickly here. Barriston Law is here. We know that's the integrity commissioner. Last meeting, we decided we were gonna get pricing, right, for integrity commissioner?
Yes,
So is this part of it, or is that separate? Like, are we gonna find a law firm that can do it all, or that'll have to be separate?
So, I feel like, there's a very good possibility that that will still be a separate thing. But I'll deal with both of those things in the one report.
Okay, so their
So again,
Request for
whether we need to do.
pricing is still going on.
and I'm sure once we do our third party training, they'll have some suggestions as to options for an integrity commissioner. I'll read the resolution. Be it resolved that council of the Township of Black River, Masson directs the interim clerk treasurer to bring back a recommendation with respect to consolidation of our legal counsel to one service provider with the intention of reducing costs while still receiving adequate advice and representation, and to bring back a more in-depth report on expenses. All in favor? Carried. We move into bylaws. 12A. Bylaw number 2024-37, being a bylaw to establish an annual levy for hospitals. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-37, being a bylaw to establish an annual levy for hospitals for the municipal corporation of the Township of Black River, Masson, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed on this 8th day of October 2024. Move your seconder, please. Councilor Allen. Charbonneau. Any questions or comments? Councilor Charbonneau?
Probably the same question. Is this something we do every year?
Yes. It's a tax. The hospital pays the municipality.
I just find $3,000 is a small number. I'm not saying I want more. I'm actually saying we're lucky to have a hospital in our town. So for $3,000, could we not be grateful for a hospital? And it's just an idea.
Councilor McCutcheon?
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Councilor Charbonneau, but I think $3,000 isn't gonna do much for us, but $3,000 going back to the hospital would probably do a lot for them. They could probably do stuff for the seniors side. Like, sits. Like, we're lucky to have a hospital.
Yeah.
So,
The other option we have, if we're considering something like that, is we have, I know in the past, we gave back the taxes. I think someone help me out here. I think last year we put a motion forward to refund their property tax. Anyone remember that?
That's not ringing a bell.
Councilor Bouchard?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor, and that was my next question is, how much does the hospital actually pay in taxes? Are they like commercial? Like a big rate commercial, or how does the rate work out? Because I didn't see it in this tax rate.
I just read that.
It's per bed, right?
Yeah, sorry, so, the zoning would be, institution, I believe.
And how much are they paying annually?
For their taxes?
Yeah,
I'm good.
Ballpark.
it's
Zero.
it's institutional, so it's nothing.
It's exempt.
What about water and sewer?
That's, I'm speaking where I shouldn't, I
Yeah.
know, but that's where you come in and you refund the town or the hospital usually the
The water,
a
sewer.
portion of their.
I knew there was
water.
something that we had an opportunity to,
It's the water and sewer.
water and sewer. Okay. See, question and answer period, all of a sudden. Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think we should give that back.
Is
That's
that a
probably more than water and
housekeeping issue
sewer.
that we can't, or?
So if I could, I would suggest that if we were going to, consider, an amount, call it a refund, whatever, you'd like to call it, that we do it, separate from this bylaw. One of the reasons being, I'm not entirely convinced that there's not, a provincial, funding to the hospital that we're charging to the hospital, so, notwithstanding passing this bylaw, there's nothing saying that, you couldn't in the future, give any amount, as a contribution to the hospitals.
Can we defer this until we get proper answer? I agree with the floor is that we're very lucky to have them and we need to keep them happy. Councilor Bouchard?
thanks, Mr. Mayor, is just to keep the process moving here, can we not accept this bylaw? And then look at, later on doing a donation back to the hospital or something like that effect, so that this gets done, and then we can later on look at it and say, okay, let's donate back what we think we should, and would that work for them, like?
Mr. McVeigh?
I think that would be the wisest course of action.
Okay, everybody agree with continue with carrying this motion and talk about it further before November 1st, 2024. That's when it has to be paid. Everybody's good with that? All in favor? Great. 12B. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-38 being a bylaw to establish the tax rate for the municipal corporation of the Township of Blackford, Mass. And be read a first, second, and third time. Finally passed on this 8th day of October 2024. I get a mover and a seconder, please. Councilor Allen, Councilor Gadry. Questions, comments on the tax rate for our taxes? So that is correct, James? Just so that we can get our tax bills out.
Okay.
Housekeeping. Counselor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I saw that there's a 1.25% penalty. From when the taxes go out. If they're not paid per month.
Mhm.
So I'm trying to read this one.
Paragraph 6.
Yeah, there it is. Because the tax bills are going out so late. Can we defer that 1.25%? Like we're right up against the wall and we're like,
Yeah.
we want it now, and some people
I believe we're still gonna give them the same amount of time to pay the bill as if they would have received it.
normally.
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor. Sherman?
The first one is October 30th. Are these bills ready to go out like tomorrow?
As close to tomorrow as.
Because you have to have 21 days, right? By the time you send them out.
Mhm.
I just want to make sure we follow the rule. That's all. If we can't make it, we better change the date now. That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, but. If it's passed today and it's sent out tomorrow, that gives us our 21 days. But do we need to confirm that it was sent out on the 10th, that it says the 31st?
Well, so sorry, it would become due and payable on the 28th of November.
Mhm.
Right, so,
Excuse me.
No, the 30th of
Oh,
May.
30th is the
balance.
first, yeah. So 21 days from when they vote. Which is tomorrow.
That's what I'm asking. Are they ready to go out? Because if we don't follow the rules, we are being watched. I'm telling you right now. I mean, wouldn't it be safer to just go, I don't know, November 5th and December 5th? That way you know for sure.
We can definitely do that. We can move each of those dates by 5 days. It would be-
Still want to send the tax bills out tomorrow.
They're still gonna go out as quickly as they can.
But if there was a hiccup, it gives you a little bit of leeway to.
So what were we, what would you consensus be for the first payable date?
I would say November 5th. 2024. Or, yeah,
And then December 5th.
November 5th.
or November 4th on the Monday.
Okay. But the second, oh yeah, and the second bill, yeah. So if we add 5 days to October, we should add 5 days to November, which is what? December 3rd?
Yeah.
Okay. So we would have to amend the 2 dates, right? Being sentence 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting us so far.
Okay, Oh, Councilor Bouchard.
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just, when we were watching some of the videos and stuff, there was a specific date that the province needed that to be resolved, and that's what everybody was concerned about to get this, budget passed through. What is that date?
Well, so we have to have our FIR submitted, I mean, I think we're looking at next week.
Okay,
So like, no matter what, these bills have to go out. So once this bylaw is passed, I mean, aside from the date, that shouldn't have any bearing on that, and that we can move forward with.
Because at least we'll have the amounts out to do the FIRs. Whether it's being collected or it's collected 3 or 4 days later, at least the forms can be complete. Councilor Bouchard?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. The other thing I'd like to, for us to consider is that, considering, the situation we've been in for the most of the year and then everything that's happened and stuff, can we remove the 1.5% until December 31st only for this year? Just to give people a little bit of leeway, considering the 3.9% tax we put in and the tax we had last year, just to give everybody a bit of leeway, to get this process through. And then we could leave the January 1st one in place.
They go number 6, leave number 7.
It,
I mean,
it's definitely worth discussion.
I don't think it's a big amount, like 1.5%, but if somebody's paying like $10,000, it all adds up eventually, and it's.
I'll open the floor for discussion on that. It's Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think, a lot closer to the holiday season, putting these bills out too, I think. Waiving number 6 would probably be a good idea.
Mhm.
So I agree with, Councilor Bouchard.
So just for this tax cycle, then,
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
is there a law that states that we must provide an interest?
So I don't believe we have to charge a penalty. So I would have two concerns. Obviously, removing the penalty would mean that there's no incentive for anyone to make a tax payment until such time as that penalty has been reintroduced. So essentially, what we would be doing is just moving that due date. Really,
Okay.
which would be sort of a difficult thing for the municipality to bear at this point. Again, given that we're late.
Yeah.
In the year.
Councilor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Speaking of that, though, number 6 only goes till December 31st. If we don't take number 7 out, it starts back January 1st.
Mhm.
So you're only. Like people that aren't incentive to pay their bills, well, they will be January 1st. We're just giving a little bit of grace here until December 31st. It's not like we're taking big penalties out, it's October, November, December.
I think
Yeah, I hear what, clerk treasurer is saying, is we want to make sure that everybody does pay, so we're obviously in a cash crunch as well, so if we take away that. The fear to pay. As long as we have the money I just don't want to get $5 million on December 31st.
Yeah, but you're counting on
Yeah.
the whole town not paying their taxes.
Yeah.
Like,
Councilor Allen?
I think I've heard from a lot of people within the community that they're asking about when their tax bills are coming and when they're coming due and stuff like that. So I think there are a lot of people that are prepared to pay their tax bill. And I don't think we're gonna you're obviously gonna have those issues where there's gonna be people that wait till the last minute to pay it, but there are people out there who are prepared and know what's coming. And they're ready to pay their tax bills. So I think you're gonna have those people, and then you're gonna have people that weren't gonna pay whether there's a penalty or not.
Okay,
If I may, sorry, just lost the bylaw here. We have, at least 2 more meetings between now and when, there would potentially be, any of these penalties added to someone's taxes. I would suggest that maybe we could pass this bylaw as written. I would be happy to make sure that we have a report at the next meeting indicating what the impact potentially could be. again, one of those questions that I'm unable to answer off the top of my head here is whether or not we have the legislative requirement to have a penalty. I don't think that we do, but without actually looking at, I'm hesitant to give you a definite answer. What I do know is that we have to have this bylaw passed to move forward with tax bills. So, again, I could bring forward a report to the next meeting, indicate any potential issues with waiving that fee. And then it's as simple as amending this bylaw. So this could be done at the next meeting.
Councilor Sherbrooke?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If this bylaw here is amended today, it could still be passed today.
Yes, but then this bylaw would be passed as amended. So that fee would be removed. And that would be. So if there was an issue that I find out tomorrow, for example, I don't have an opportunity to rectify that.
Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. How about we get rid of the one, we did it 0.25. That way, if there is supposed to be a penalty, there's still one there, but
Yeah. But if in Mr. LaFave saying if it's a legislative requirement
have a penalty.
to have a penalty,
2.25.
okay,
That was a hypothetical, like
Yeah.
there could be another issue with it.
Well, I'm just, no.
And again, so just being that there's no urgency to make that decision, it would be. I mean, it would be very easy for me to bring a report back to the next meeting. For you to make a decision on, at that point, whether it's 0.25 or 1.25 or 0.
Yeah, I don't want to report us to death. And difference between 1.25 and 0.251% on is not huge. So either we go 0 and live with consequences, or we just amend the payable date, which gives everybody a little more time to pay and leave the interest. We have 2 options on the table. Looking for some guidance here. Councilor Sherrill, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with you on the report that I think there's too many reports. So we have to stay away from the reports. We could see who's in favor of what, but I'm in favor of just taking number 6 out.
So amending 2 and removing 6. Anybody else comments? Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think for this tax year, I agree with the Councilor Sherburne. Amend 2, remove 6. To good faith.
Okay. Can I read the motion for that? All right. It's written really small in this one, thanks. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-38 being a bylaw to establish the tax rate for the municipal corporation of Township of Black River Masson be read first, second and third time and finally passed on this 8th day of October 2024, amending section 2 to indicate the 4th of November and the 3rd of December, and to removing section 6. All those in favor? Carried. Agree, it'll help show our good faith that we're trying to help everybody for the situation that we're currently in. Well, C. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-39 being a bylaw to establish the tax ratio for the municipal corporation of the Township of Black River Masson be read a first, second and third time and finally passed on this 8th day of October 2024. I will move to seconder. Councilor Charbel and Councilor Allen. Questions, comments? Counselor Allen?
So are we going to do the same thing on this one? Remove 2 and, sorry, amend 2 and remove 6?
Yeah, it would fall under the same, the same. You can't have one and not the other. One's for the rate and one's for the ratio, so. We're good with amending that, obviously, to save policy too. Okay. Be it resolved that bylaw number 2024-39 being a bylaw to establish the tax ratio for the municipal corporation of the township of Blackford, Masson, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed this 8th day of October 2024, amending section 2 to reflect the 4th of November and the 3rd of December, and removing section 6. All those in favor? Carried. Move to unfinished business. And I will leave the room. Declare my interest. Councillor Gattery, or Chair Gattery. You have to go to the front.
Pardon me?
Did you miss it?
I'm fine. The brother's phone to the text on. Okay, so 13A. Report INF 2024-01 winter sand tender results. Be it resolved that Council of the Township of Black River Matheson directs the interim treasurer to. We need a mover and a seconder to a report. Okay, Councillor Charbonneau, Councillor Campbell. Any comments or? Councillor Charbonneau.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It's gonna sound silly, but I would like to send it back out. Because I talked to one local, one semi-local contractors, and they had no idea about this sand tender. And they would be interested in bidding.
So, yeah. Councillor Campbell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Is there a way we can? I know we put it on a website, but is there a way we can also send this to all our local contractors so they can see it? I get a lot of them are busy, they don't have time to check the sites over and over again, but.
Yeah, so, through you, Madam Mayor, one of the things that I'd love to have implemented is where, folks can sign up and, receive our RFPs. I mean, I think that's, a necessity. This was definitely far more heavily advertised than it was, the previous time. EXP, who we've had helping us with the Director of Infrastructure position, they were gracious enough to put it on their website as well. So it did go out to a lot of contractors who would bid on this sort of work. My only concern is that we're really pushing it for time here, like really.
Yeah.
So.
So. Councillor Charbonneau.
I understand, I mean, I've never been pushed around my whole life, and I'm not gonna start when I'm dealing with counselors and with taxpayers' money. Where did this go? Like, where did this get promoted?
So through you, Madam Chair, it was advertised through Bid and Go. Again, through all of the normal methods that we would have before, so on our website, in the local newspaper. And then again on the EXP website where they have contractors who were signed up to receive those RFPs. So both EXP's website and Bid and Go would have had multiple companies receiving them.
The newspaper, like the Dune Express?
No, it was done through the enterprise.
Okay.
Sorry, it may have been under the second.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Do we have any sand reserves right now? To, I mean, get us started for a couple weeks if we do put this back out?
We do have limited reserves. The trouble is, part of this RFP is to sift it, right? And right now, it's not really in a condition that we can just put it on the road. So, I mean, we could do the best we can, but short of having this contract in place, it would be difficult.
How long did we advertise for?
It was 10 days booked.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with Councilor Charbonneau that there's probably a lot of people that didn't see it and didn't get a bid on it. I can also appreciate we're up against the wall for this. I think we might have to take this as it is, but then come up with a way of advertising way better for all of our stuff. So to go out another 10 days. It's gonna bring us right to the end of October and then delivery, sifting. We'll be pushing on that, so that's my 2 cents.
Councilor Allen?
I agree with what Scott's saying. I can understand, you know, going out and making sure that a lot of locals get a chance at it, but I think being up against the wall and everything, that it's a good idea to push forward with this and then just create procedures and things for the next time around so that we have a better result from it.
I'm just gonna make a suggestion that if we do decide to put this out one more time, that council would appreciate that we probably have to have a special meeting to make a decision on the results. I just, again, it's because we're talking 10 days, which I mean, I don't disagree with you at all when it comes to the advertising. We can definitely be doing a better job. No disagreement there. So I'm just throwing it out there that if the advertising, if the RFP does go out again, we just recognize that we'd have to have a special meeting so that we can get that.
We might risk not getting caught too. Councilor Charbonneau?
Yes, so I agree, it's gotta be better advertised, right? And the only thing that upsets me with this is they're laughing in our face, because the other one was a lot cheaper. Well, it was cheaper. You know, now the price has gone up. In 10 days. You know? So that's, I mean, it is what it is. If we have to accept one, we have to accept one, but when we have local contractors paying local taxes, supporting our local town, and they have no idea that there's even tenders out there, that's an issue. Because we should be supporting, as a town, we should be supporting our local contractors that support us.
Does it have to be put out for 10 days?
That's, as far as our policies go, that would be the minimum.
Even for the third time? Well, we're gonna have to come up with a resolution. Councilor,
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I agree with Councillor Charbonneau that definitely the price has gone up, especially from this one particular organization, but I also talked to a local contractor and they were not aware. And this website that bid Dingo is a provincial government website, more for provincial projects and stuff, not really related to municipal stuff. So definitely we need to have better. Like I did not see it in the enterprise either, so maybe I didn't look properly, but
neither did I actually.
so it just, I think moving forward. Maybe we should accept this the way it is and just have stricter guidelines to have bids next time to be definitely support the local people.
Council?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Can we temporarily suspend our bylaw for, put it out for 10 days and let's say, let's put it back out for 5 days? And then reach out to all our local at the same time?
So, the only problem that we run into there is, I don't even know if I could get it advertised, in the 5 days. Depending on the cycle of the paper and I'm sure I could have it, on the website as early as tomorrow. I'm sure I could have it on, some additional websites for advertising as early as the next day.
Flyer handout for all our locals.
A flyer handout,
Go door to door if you have to.
yeah.
There's reports to do.
Okay, Dan will hand them out.
So I absolutely, we can, whatever council decides, I'd be concerned about going out for a third time and getting
Higher price.
It'll be
Yeah.
90,000.
Yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
It doesn't say how many tons are on here, right?
it- yeah,
They did on the original.
Mhm.
so I don't think I included the original doc. Give me 1 second.
Nope.
So we were looking at 3,500 tons, winter sand, and remix of approximately 2,000 tons. So that's what we've got that would have to be remixed.
you know, how many we would have right now, like on. From last year, left over?
Yeah, we'd have almost 2,000.
Okay.
Again, the trouble is the work required to make it ready to put on the road.
So what's the consensus?
I say we move forward with accepting this and direct them to move forward with the lowest pricing option and then create better advertisements and things like that in the future. So I don't think we really have the time right now to be fiddling around.
Okay, does anyone want to put a motion forward to? Okay,
Motion to accept Ontario.
so. all
Would you be
those in-
kind enough to read that Ontario number?
1685300.
Thank you, sir.
All those in favor? Those against? I haven't voted.
Madam Chair, not that I want to belabor this one, but I'll give you this motion. Hopefully you can forgive my writing.
Be it resolved that council of the township of Black River Matheson directs the interim clerk treasurer to move forward with the recommendation to accept 1685300 bid. So we have 3-4 who against, and I have it.
Thank you.
Can we record the vote?
Absolutely. You'll have to do a roll.
Okay, and I counted vote?
Yeah.
Okay. Counselor Allen,
Yay.
Counselor Charbonneau,
Nay.
Counselor Capsule,
Nay.
Counselor Bouchard,
Yeah.
Counselor Lakucha,
Yay.
I vote yea.
I was just gonna say, would you like me to go and?
Retrieve.
Go chase the mayor.
You need a drink.
No, no,
Need a coffee to warm up.
yeah, it's cold in here.
We can go to 13B.
Yes.
13B, under unfinished business, it's not a presentation by Boreal. It was, we had discussed whether we were going to fund the Boreal Pulse, the attraction team, whether we're gonna fund them or not fund them, and I guess we deferred it. So if anyone has had time to think about whether we want to do it, or if you want to defer it again, or if you want to make a proposal, that is, there's no delegation, there's no PowerPoint presentation, just defer it. And Councillor Gattard?
I think we should defer it, so, until we can see what's budgeted. Cause I don't know how much there's in our budget
Okay.
for this.
That's fair enough. Can we? You can provide that, just throw that to us in email over the next, if need be.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't think we need a report, I just, any other comments or questions? Councillor Charbonneau?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I can't remember if we asked, but are they stuck on that 25,000 or is it like?
I think it's because everybody's put it in the same amount.
Yeah,
Yeah, everybody's putting the same, I know the first couple years we had it, when it was worker bees, we would. We funded a lower portion because it was actually a committee of council, and so we did in-kind work, all the administration work that we did and the paper and the photocopy. But now it's a standalone. It's a standalone, it's a nonprofit, so it's nothing to do with, not under our jurisdiction. Any other questions or comments? Councilor Bouchard?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. This, the only concern is how long has this program been running and what's the success rate for Matheson, really for Blackburn Matheson, like, I know we're fighting against Circle Falls, which has more money to offer more stuff, you know, and if Cochrane is part of Mix, it's, they can offer this as much, so if Mix is in the thing, then they might not, they might tend to sway more towards the bigger hospital or stuff than ours.
Yeah, it's a fair argument, but. Councilor Charbonneau had said earlier, we're lucky to have a hospital, so we have to make sure that, if we don't proceed with joining the team, that we have a backup. Now, this is not a problem just for Masston or Northern Ontario. This is all across Canada, and as far as, you know, the news shows it, it's we have a shortage of doctors everywhere.
Yeah.
Councillor Campbell will soon be on the hospital board, and you're gonna see that the amount of money that we spend, that Mix spends on traveling doctors is crazy. It's the number will floor you. But that comes out of the operating budget for Mix, or out of Bingham and out of Mix, so it really hampers us, so. We need to have a backup plan so that when a doctor does come available, that we're top of the mind. And right now, we're fighting against the other two hospitals with more money in their municipality, so it's not gonna be solved overnight. But hospitals are very important. We have to be able to access healthcare. And if come in the future, if we don't have a doctor, I don't know what's gonna happen, right? You wouldn't keep a bacon egg breakfast shop open if you didn't have a cook. So that's almost, so sort of scenario, that's where we're heading. Councillor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So to piggyback on Councillor Bouchard and yourself, I think we do need to sit down as council and come up with some sort of enticement to bring a doctor. I know I believe Circle Falls and Cochrane both have some sort of plan worked in where, like, an incentive package to provide to the doctor, right? I do think us as Matheson, we should have an incentive package as well to try and entice a doctor to come to our hospital.
Yeah, it's something we'd have to work into our budget, our
Yeah.
2025 budget, because Councillor Charbonneau.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. I agree with Councillor Campbell, and also it's not just about the money, it's about showing what Matheson has to offer. Right, like if you look at, let's say Eric Falls, they're off the beaten path, they're not on the highway like us. We hope to see Matheson booming here, so that's another enticement. It doesn't all come down to how much we're gonna pay this doctor, right? we gotta sell ourselves. And I think if we to say no to that, we can allocate that fund to, work together and make a package and a selling package to sell Matheson to a doctor. Like,
So are we looking to defer it for now until we get the budgeted number and then in the meantime, work on a plan B individually, we could bring that back to council? You good with that? Oh, Councilor Bouchard?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Just, I guess to consider in all fairness is, they have, I guess, an organization already that they pay people that they pay to do it. So there is a bit, a slim chance that for that 25,000, we still might get somebody, like, we've already had somebody come around and look at stuff. So it's something else to consider that, yeah, it's an investment, but besides that, supporting what Mr. Charbonneau said is that we should have a package ready besides that. Maybe if that's sufficient and we have a boat available that we
Yeah,
can use.
We don't have an attraction
No.
package available. We've never discussed it. Councilor McCutcheon?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To agree with Dan and on the Boreal basically does the legwork to bring them to the area. Regardless, we're going to have some sort of incentive package to the other hospitals. So it's either we spend 25 grand advertising ourselves and our incentive package, or we give them the 25 grand to do all the legwork and we just have a nice incentive package. So we have to find out if we're budgeted for that, but we gotta weigh which is gonna cost more, us trying to chase down the doctor or getting them to do it. We just make sure we do a better job selling ourselves to the doctor than the other two.
Councilor Getter?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. A lot of doctors' offices get students from the medical school in Sudbury. Maybe that would be a good opportunity for us to attract them to this area. I don't know if we get any in Matheson per se. I know Dr. Chang had some in Iroquois Falls. I know they come to Timmins. Because they have him in, my doctor's office has students all the time.
I know that the Boreal Pulse, as Abigail had mentioned, was that evening is that she does go on, actually went to Edmonton, and that's where this gentleman, Dr. Lizovitsky, it's where he came from. And I believe last week she was in Montreal, so she's going to these shows. Doctors they're not Googling where do I want to live or where do I want to practice, and up comes Mass. And so that's the whole concept, is that she is going to present on behalf of 3 communities. And like you said, right now we're the weakest of 3 communities because we don't have an attraction package.
But I'm just saying, like, why don't we start them like fresh out of medical school?
That would be, if we choose not to go with Boreal Pulse, then that would be something that us as a council would have to create.
Can't we do both?
You'd have to pay somebody.
She already goes there.
Well, she does?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, she's affiliated with the Northern Ontario School of Medicine already. Councilor Bouchard?
Yes, thanks, Mr. Mayor. It's just if we go that route, then we basically have to hire somebody. We have to pay them a salary, we have to pay them their traveling, which L'Oreal is basically doing already, so be careful.
It costs us a lot more than 25,000.
Yeah, yeah. You know, that I'm pretty cool.
So where do we want to, Councilor Bouchard? Or,
I think the consensus here is that we wait for the numbers to make sure we have money to do it. And after that, we're leaning towards doing it, but we really need to get a package put together.
okay.
So probably be like a special meeting or something, but that's, we can sit down and get a package put together.
Yeah, or rather than asking our staff to create a report, we can come up with our own ideas and bring it. In 2 steps.
Sounds like Cape.
Okay.
At some point, we could create another subcommittee. Committee of council.
To create the incentive package.
To bring something forward.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so at this point, we're choosing to defer until budget numbers and then go from there. Perfect. Can I get moving a second on this? No, I need to move in a second on this, sorry. Can I get moving a second on this? Charbonneau and Allen. Be it resolved that council defer this item to the next meeting of council. All in favor? Carried. That brings us to the end under other business. The only other thing under other business I want to quickly mention is that on Thursday evening, I know it's on Facebook, but so that everybody knows, the public knows, and everybody listening, is that on Thursday evening, John Vantoff will be at Floyd Hembrough Center from 6 until 8 p.m. So, those of us that can attend and public that can attend, it's worthwhile. If you haven't met the gentleman, and even if you have, to go and support him, it's just a meet and greet. But we're very thankful for what he did. Since February 20th, we're very thankful of his help that he stood by our community. So I think we need to at least go out and shake his hand. So just a public service announcement. Confirmatory bylaw. Be resolved that bylaw number 2024-36 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council of the corporation of the township of Black River, Masson, be ready first, second, and third time and finally pass this 8th day of October 2024. Moving to seconder. Charbonneau and Bouchard, all in favor? Carried. Be it resolved that this regular council meeting is hereby adjourned at 8:23 p.m. Moving a second for that. Alan and Hansel, all in favor?
Right?
Thank you. Thank you to the public for attending. In this cold room.
Yes. He just doesn't